Imagine a voice that could shatter the sky. 3 octaves of pure power, every note like a lightning strike. Whitney Houston sang I Will Always Love You in 1992, and the world stood still. 45 million copies of the Bodyguard soundtrack didn't lie. It remains the best-selling soundtrack ever. But what if this voice wasn't just a gift from above, but a technique honed over years in church basements and home living rooms? And what lay behind its heartbreaking evolution, from the gospel angel of her youth to the husky, battle-worn whisper of her final years? Today we're dissecting Whitney's voice layer by layer, note by note, from her mother's strict lessons in a modest New Jersey apartment to the devastating way drugs reshaped her timbre forever. We'll break down examples from her biggest hits, from the crystalline highs of Greatest Love of All to the raw emotion of her final shows. Why was her vocal style so uniquely powerful? And what does its dramatic arc reveal about the true price of superstardom? Stick around. Ahead are vocal breakdowns, forgotten stories, and revelations you've never heard before. Whitney Elizabeth Houston entered the world on August 9, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey, into a family where music wasn't just a passion, it was survival. Her mother, Cissy Houston, was already a legendary backup singer who had lent her voice to Aretha Franklin's Ain't No Way, Dionne Warwick's hits, and even Elvis Presley. Uncle Dionne Warwick ruled the charts with Walk On By. But Whitney's voice didn't form in glamorous recording studios. It was forged in the fire of New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, where gospel services lasted hours and emotion poured from every soul. Picture this: 5-year-old Whitney standing on a milk crate in the church choir, her tiny voice cutting through the Hammond organ swells. Gospel music teaches vibrato, that subtle, controlled tremble that mimics raw human emotion. It's not random shaking. It's a precise technique where the vocal cords flutter at 5 to 8 oscillations per second. Whitney absorbed it nightly, watching her mother lead the choir. Cissy would later recall in interviews, Whitney was born with it, but church gave her control. By age 11, Whitney was backing up her mother on recording sessions. Her first professional credit came in 1967 at just 4 years old, uncredited backup vocals on Chaka Khan's I'm Every Woman. But the real lessons happened at home in their East Orange apartment. Cissy, a disciplinarian, would make Whitney practice scales for hours. Breathe from the belly, not the chest, she'd drill. This diaphragmatic breathing became the foundation for Whitney's legendary 3-octave range, spanning from G3 in the low chest voice to piercing G6 in her whistle register. One pivotal home lesson, Cissy taught mixed voice, seamlessly blending the heavy chest resonance with the lighter head voice. Listen to their 1977 duet, Shake Me, Wake Me, from Cissy's album. In the first minute, Whitney's low register is warm and velvety like aged bourbon, then climbs effortlessly to clean highs without cracking. No strain, pure control. By age 15, this paid off spectacularly. On the Merv Griffin Show in 1978, a teenage Whitney held a single note for 20 seconds on one breath, leaving the audience stunned. Critics raved about her flawless control. Gospel gave her the emotional tears in her voice, that gospel wail, but always reined in by technique. Question: what if, without those church nights and mother's whip, her voice had stayed just pretty instead of becoming peerless? But fame's rise was about to test everything. On to the debut that changed music forever. Whitney's self-titled debut album dropped in 1985 under Clive Davis's Arista Records. 25 million copies sold worldwide, a record for a debut. The lead single, Saving All My Love for You, won her first Grammy and showcased technique at full bloom. Her documented range, E3 lows to E6 highs, verses sit in velvety chest voice around A3, B3, building to whistle register climbs that most singers can only dream of. Let's break down her signature hit, Greatest Love of All, from 1986. Intro, deep chest resonance at A3, warm like a hug. The chorus builds to B4 with vibrato precisely at 6 to 8 oscillations per second. Textbook gospel training. The secret weapon, portamento, that smooth gliding between notes inherited straight from church runs. Whitney masterfully varied vibrato speed for storytelling. Slow, wide vibrato on painful lines like I Believe in Myself, speeding up to tight, triumphant shakes on I've Learned the Hard Way. Its emotional Morse code, compare her to godmother Aretha Franklin. Aretha's soul growl was raw power from the gut, bending notes wildly. Whitney was surgical, cleaner attacks, less grit, more precision. This came directly from Cissy's mantra, don't shout, sing. The result? Dynamic control from pianissimo whispers to explosive fortes. Take I Wanna Dance with Somebody, 1987, 8 million singles sold. Classic belting in the powerful mid-range, around D4-F4, supported entirely by diaphragm strength, no throat tension, just pure propulsion. Her live performances from this era show her casually chatting between songs, then unleashing arena-shaking power without warming up. The absolute peak arrived with 1992's The Bodyguard soundtrack. I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton's ballad reimagined, clocks 7 minutes and 31 seconds. The money note hits at 420, a sustained A5 held for 15 full seconds, with spectrogram analysis revealing harmonics soaring to 8 kHz for crystalline clarity brighter than cut glass. Backstage stories reveal the toll. Whitney rehearsed 8 hours daily with vocal coach Seth Riggs, pushing her limits. Kevin Costner recalled her nailing the take in one go after chain smoking to relax her throat. 45 million sales later, she'd rewritten record books. But question, could this flawless technique withstand fame's relentless pressure? We'll see exactly how it began to crack. Soon, marriage to Bobby Brown in July 1992 marked the turning point. Bad Boys era R&B swagger entered her world. Her 1998 album, My Love Is Your Love, still delivered 2.5 octaves, but the timbre warmed with new soul influences. Heartbreak Hotel introduced intentional growl, Bobby's stylistic fingerprints. But vibrato grew uneven, a first warning sign. Cocaine experimentation started subtly in the late 80s amid Hollywood parties, peaking through the 90s. Drugs dehydrate and inflame vocal cords, eroding elasticity like sandpaper on silk. Timbre shifted from velvet smoothness to textured grit. Compare 1995's Exhale, Shoop Shoop, from waiting to exhale. G5 still clean and controlled, breath support intact. But by 1999's It's Not Right, But It's Okay, her signature melismas, rapid note runs, waver noticeably highs approached with visible effort. Vocal evolution visualized, 1985 spectrograms show full, rich harmonics across 3 octaves. By 1999, range contracts to 2 octaves, upper partials strained. Gospel foundations saved her. Diaphragmatic breath never fully failed. But chronic crack cocaine use eroded laryngeal muscles, causing micro-tears. Live at the 1999 MTV VMAs, I Learned from the Best features a BB5 with pronounced rasp. The crowd erupted, but vocal coaches noted instability. She'd push through pain, compensating with throat tension. Why didn't it shatter sooner? Cissy's enduring wisdom. A voice is a muscle. Train it daily. Whitney did vocal exercises even hungover before tours, but the cost mounted. 1996, South Africa tour stories describe her collapsing post-show from exhaustion, voice reduced to whispers by morning. The 2000s collapse shocked the world even more brutally. Her 2002 album Just Whitney limped to 1.5 octaves. What You Like leans heavily on dominant lows around C4, highs reduced to fragile falsetto, Drugs had permanently altered her timbre, adding gravelly grit reminiscent of Amy Winehouse a decade later. Some call it smoky maturity, others vocal tragedy. The 2010 Australian tour became infamous. During I Will Always Love You, Rasp dominates by 3:45, but raw emotion pierces deeper than technical perfection ever could. Fans wept, not for lost clarity, but felt authenticity. 2011's Nothing But Love attempted comeback with simplified melismas, no more reckless runs, preserving what remained. Her final film role in 2012's Sparkle brought gospel full circle. His eye is on the Sparrow Channel's New Hope Baptist roots, broken timbre conveying soul-deep conviction, range stabilized at 2 octaves, but uniqueness amplified through vulnerability, cracks revealing the human beneath the icon. Compared to protégé Beyoncé's Listen, 2006, Bey's polish is studio-perfected runs. Whitney's late style was raw power, unfiltered life experience. Ariana Grande has openly copied those whistle climbs, crediting Whitney in masterclasses. Question: did the raspy evolution improve her voice? Many pros argue yes. It gained character, becoming profoundly human, where early perfection sometimes felt distant. Multiple rehabs from 2006-2011 offered temporary relief, but scarred chords never fully healed. Her last public performance, February 9, 2012, at a pre-Grammy party, $1 Million Bill shows visible effort, shorter phrases to conserve breath. Just 1 week later, tragedy struck in a Beverly Hills hotel bathtub. What endures in her staggering legacy? Whitney's uniqueness boils down to a rare gospel-pop hybrid, 3 full octaves, rarer than Michael Jackson's 4, which lacked her belting power. Her evolution from clinical ideal to gritty realism mirrors life's own arc. Influence ripples everywhere. Adele studies her breath control for Someone Like You. Rihanna emulates dynamic swells. Even Christina Aguilera cites Whitney's mixed voice in runs. Cissy's technique plus church fire formed the unbreakable bass. Drugs added undeniable charm but delivered a brutal lesson. The voice is fragile anatomy, not invincible magic. Stats seal the legend. Over 220 million records sold worldwide, 7 consecutive Billboard #1, a record unbroken for women, 11 #1 singles. Guinness dubbed her the most awarded female artist. What if no fall had marred her path? The voice might have stayed perfect, a museum piece. Instead, its scars made her iconic, relatable, real. Emotional peak, relive those money notes now. From 1986, purity to 2010 grit. Whitney's voice was never just notes on a page, but a living chronicle of triumph, temptation, and transcendent pain. From stratospheric 3-octave command to that husky, hard-earned whisper, the path of a true legend. If this breakdown opened your ears to her genius, hit subscribe for more deep dives into music's greatest voices. Next up, Freddie Mercury's operatic revolution. Like if you learned something new about Whitney today, drop in comments. What's your all-time favorite Whitney song and why? See you in the next story.